gets on the stand, Deontay Nash.
And he said he spent pretty much every single day with Cassie. He said he saw Diddy and Cassie together. But then he said that Diddy would also refer to her as the B word. He would call her an SL.
Admired for her stunning looks, smooth voice, and well-publicized connection with music mogul Sean Diddy Combs, Cassie Ventura is better known by her stage name, Cassie. But behind the glamorous headlines and public appearances, Cassie has a side that not many people are aware of. Fans' preconceptions may change after Diddy's former stylist recently revealed shocking details about Cassie's personal life. This insider, who knew Cassie and Diddy throughout some of their most turbulent times, let slip a shocking revelation: an affair. What's even more disturbing is that Cassie's secrecy points to a dark pattern of abuse she endured behind closed doors. One stylist claimed that Cassie had a complicated relationship life and severe emotional suffering hidden behind her calm public image. The unseen watchers of celebrities' lives, stylists often see things that others do not. The secret meeting with a key industry figure was not just a quick connection. The subtle signs of abuse, including makeup-covered bruises and sudden mood changes, are even more worrisome. Living largely in quiet was the terrible reality Cassie had to face. The unknown challenges that Cass faces in a field where silence is often rewarded are shown by this insider story. Cassie's resilience is apparent despite the pain. Heartbreak, secrets, and survival are all explored in this story. Beyond the glitz and glamour of Hollywood, a distinctive perspective reminds us that even famous people can have serious hidden problems. Get ready to expose what has been held a secret for too long.
Much time Deontay spent with Cassie, and he said he spent pretty much every single day with Cassie. He said he saw Diddy and Cassie together, though, about once a week, but that's still a pretty often time. And then he was asked, what were the names that Diddy referred to Cassie as? So first, Deontay was like, oh, baby girl, Cassie. But then he said that Diddy would also refer to her as the B word. He would call her an SLUT. He would call her a But he said it's the B word that was his favorite word to use in reference to his own girlfriend, that being Cassie. And he said, he being Deontay, said that Diddy would call Cassie an outright SLUT. And I'm sorry, guys, I know I have to be very careful with just the words that I can say on air, but Deontay explained that when Diddy would call her these names and when he would use these words against her, that Cassie would be sad. She would be depressed about this name calling. Deontay went on to explain that Diddy threatened Cassie a number of times, threatened to release her send those sex parents, threatened to beat Cassie's behind, and it drove Cassie essentially crazy. She would cry, she would stay in the house. Deontay explained that Cassie would essentially cocoon up when Diddy would just call her these names, and Diddy threatened not to release her music, something that the government has talked about at length throughout a bunch of different witness testimony.
Who was the former stylist to Cassie Ventura? He testified to acts of violence, often seeing bruising on Cassie. He testified that at one point on a 2013 video shoot that Sean Combs also attacked him. A lot of violence, a lot of bruising, and a lot of blackmail. He said that he had threatened to release Cassie's videos, including to her parents, that he would get her parents fired. He would say things like, I'm going to beat you, I'm not going to release your music, I'm going to get your parents fired. And there were threats of blackmail, essentially, that speak not only to the underlying RICO charge, but also the elements of coercion for the enterprise's purpose of engaging in sex trafficking. You know, he confirmed that Combs helped Cassie's career and also his career. He confirmed that it's common for music labels to control the appearance of their talent, but then he went further to say that Cassie seemed to be the only bad boy talent whose appearance was controlled by Combs. Again, going to that element of coercion. I think this is a witness that the defense can argue is maybe biased, but he was overall a very strong witness for
Cassie and Sean. For a long time, Diddy Combs' relationship was one of the most talked about romances in entertainment. They were often seen together at high-profile events, leading many to believe their romance was the ultimate fairy tale. However, the truth was far more complex, as many people who knew the couple well knew. A close-up view of the highs and lows that occur behind the scenes was provided by Diddy's longtime stylist. This stylist began to see unsettling trends early on, having worked closely with Cassie and Diddy for years. There were moments when Cassie appeared to be having deeper difficulties, despite her seemingly perfect exterior. According to the stylist, Cassie would show up for appointments within a few hours. She went from being self-assured to being reserved, and makeup could easily hide the injuries. These were not isolated incidents, but rather a pattern that worried onlookers. Simultaneously, the stylist learned of Cassie's secret affair. Instead of being tabloid gossip, was a real devoted relationship that had been kept under wraps. While Cassie and Diddy's sporadic relationship was well known, few people knew that during their time apart, Cassie found solace and company in the arms of another significant music business figure. This individual's identity is kept confidential. The stylist confirms that this interaction had a significant impact on Cassie's career and psychological well-being. It's important to keep in mind that Cassie's work seemed to stall during this period, but she was still actively involved in it. She appeared in public less and less, and projects were secretly shelved or delayed. Juggling a secret relationship and going through abusive episodes hindered her creative output. The stylist feels that the emotional turmoil from her personal life was essential to preserving a strong exterior. The abuse is depicted by the stylist, shedding light on the hidden realities that many celebrities face. They describe instances where Cassie felt compelled to hide her obvious distress to protect herself, career, and standing. This meant limiting her social circle to a select group of trustworthy friends and professionals who could offer assistance and steering clear of public disputes. The stylist attributes Cassie's problems to both physical aggression and emotional manipulation and control. She sometimes felt alone because of the controlling environment and was scared to speak up or openly beg for help. Because of Hollywood's protective culture, these voices are often muted, leaving victims feeling torn between the risks of disclosure and their need for autonomy.
Around this time frame from 2012, 2013-ish, again, when Deontay was still working with Diddy and Cassie, Deontay explained that Diddy threatened to do something to Cassie's parents. Now, they didn't elaborate what this threat was, but I'm sure once we get back from the lunch break, they'll kind of expand more on just that. But it seems like, from Deontay's point of view, that Diddy threatened Cassie a number of times. Diddy even threatened Cassie and Deontay, that Cassie couldn't go out with Deontay and that she needed to bring her behind home, essentially, and that Cassie again would be referred to as the B word, and that Cassie would have to essentially do whatever Diddy said, whether it was how her appearance looked, whether her hair was down a certain way, whether it was up a certain way. And so I think as far as just the direct examination goes, yes, we did have a funny moment at the beginning of testimony, but really just getting into just kind of the weight of the testimony, it seems that Deontay is kind of, in essence, kind of giving more credibility to a lot of the other witness testimony, just about how mean and potentially forceful Diddy was against her. Well, I'm not gonna lie, Jesse, I absolutely love everything about Deontay Nash being on the witness stand. He's funny, he's sassy, and look, when I see it, if I were to see an exhibit photo of myself and I looked in beautiful in this glamorous headshot, I would tell the entire courtroom too that I looked fabulous and stunning, and there was just this eruption of laughter inside the courtroom. And so Deontay Nash definitely at some points during his testimony, the personality is brought out, but he is there to talk about a lot of substance too, and that is just about his working relationship with Cassie Ventura as well as even Diddy. He styled both of them. However, he did have kind of a better friendship and relationship with Cassie, and he witnessed a lot according to his testimony during his time while he had worked as a stylist with her. And so we're introduced to Deontay Nash around 12 o'clock-ish, right before the lunch break. He was the last witness who was called before we went to lunch, and so he was kind of explaining just how he had started working with Diddy and Cassie. He started off as an intern for Derek Roche, and Derek Roche was actually Diddy's stylist. And when Deontay's on the witness stand, Jesse, he's not even referring to him as Diddy or Sean Combs. He calls him Puff or Puffy. That is what he calls him by, and that's normally the name that he's familiar with. And so we do see that exhibit photo of Deontay Nash. It was a glamour shot of him, and of course, he said that he looked amazing and fabulous, and I'm sure the transcript read just that, but just being inside the courtroom, it definitely was kind of a good, funny, highlighted moment, and then it got more serious from there. So he was explaining that he had worked with Diddy and Cassie from 2008 to 2018, so about a 10-year period. Then we get into the 2009 to 28 time frame, which is a long time, but Maureen Comey, who did the questioning under the direct examination, was essentially asking some foundational questions just about...
Cassie's tenacity is apparent despite these challenges. Slowly, she began to distance herself from negative influences and alternative support systems. The stylist recalls instances in which Cassie felt better. These glimmerings of hope, whether by reconnecting with long-lost friends or engaging in new creative pursuits, indicate a woman who is resolute in the face of formidable obstacles to reclaim her life and narrative. This insider's revelations come as abuse survivors are increasingly coming out in the entertainment industry, which is undergoing a broader societal shift. The story of Cassie, as told by someone who was there when she traveled, lends a powerful voice to this important conversation. It highlights the issues. Although Cassie has not publicly addressed these accusations, the stylist thinks that their testimony will encourage others to recognize the invisible challenges that celebrities face in the backstage world. It acts as a reminder that celebrity and fortune do not equate to happiness, and that even the most prosperous people can encounter the most trying circumstances. As Cassie's adventure develops, this exposé exposes the truths that are usually concealed beneath Hollywood's glamorous facade, acting as a cautionary tale and a celebration of human tenacity. When Cassie and Diddy were not in the spotlight, their relationship was anything but simple. The stylist recalls that although their love was evident, many tense and private moments took place behind closed doors. Cassie was constantly scrutinized by the media and felt a lot of pressure to keep up a perfect image. It was about more than just love. It was about negotiating a field that often blurs personal boundaries and power dynamics. The insider claims that the existence of a covert romance that Cassie was careful to hide made her private life even more challenging. This incident featured a well-known figure in the entertainment business who held a lot of power but primarily operated in the background. While balancing this covert affair, the stylist observed Cassie trying to control the public narrative, which was mostly about Diddy. This dual existence resulted in a web of conflicting emotions. Desperation, hope, fear, and loyalty created a heavy emotional load. The stylist also highlights the subtle yet noticeable signs of Cassie's mistreatment. These were not physical force, but rather psychological manipulation, intimidation, and dominance cloaked in luxury and charm. The stylist says Cassie's usual sparkle sometimes faded, revealing the pain she was carrying, and that the scars and bruises she covered up with layers of makeup were evidence of a deeper struggle with power dynamics, which are unfortunately common in high-profile relationships.
For some reason, Big had to be at that party because Puff is the one who, and you'll see in Kirk Burroughs' papers, that Puff is the one who scratched out Big trip from going to London, and then turned around and lied that Big didn't want to go to London, which was a bunch of crap. You understand what I'm saying? Because he asked Clark Kent to go to London with him. He asked Clark Kent to go to London with him. And Clark Kent was going to go to London with him, God bless the dead. You understand? Clark Kent told that story. Now, in this trial, Cassie was telling how D-Rock and Puff was trying to line Suge Knight up. But like I said, I'm not going to get into that right now. I'm just going to get in the fact that D-Rock has been with Puff since Big died. You understand? He went and did a little time, and when he was in jail, he was letting everybody know when he come home, Puff was going to take care of it. And he became head of Puff security, making sure Puff was all right. Puff also gave him that clothing line, which was Bully. It was Big's ideal, but it was Invisible Bully. You understand? Gave him that clothing line. They was doing a little work, and he was doing the t-shirts and everything like that. And I guess Puff was actually, paying him back for helping him get Big to that party. I'm glad Ms. Wallace ain't here, brother, to see and hear what we're finding out about D-Rock now and the things that he did and how he was, so close to Puff and doing some of the things with Puff. And it's crazy right now. I'm glad Ms. Wallace is not here to hear that because she was somewhat fond of D-Rock.
Even more worrisome were the patterns of isolation. Because of designer circumstance, Cassie often had limited access to friends and family, the stylist said. She found it difficult to confide in others or seek help because of this remoteness, which exacerbated the cycle of silence. Cassie had to make the difficult choice that many famous people are all too familiar with, between disclosing the truth and protecting her career. In Hollywood, one's image is... In spite of this, Cassie showed strength. Small alterations were observed by the stylist as she began to fight against the restrictions placed upon her. Cassie's journey involved reclaiming her agency and voice, whether that was through discreetly seeking out support networks or small acts of independence. The fact that evolution, however, was neither quick nor it meant navigating challenging emotional terrain and dealing with powerful individuals who supported the existing quo. The entertainment industry's slow investigation of the culture of silence parallels the stylist's revelations, a reminder that even those who seem to have it all can be exploited and abused is provided by Cassie's story. The importance of allies, those willing to speak up and assist survivors in breaking the cycle of silence, is also emphasized. Even though Cassie has chosen to keep her identity private, the stylist's comment serves as a crucial reminder that behind every glitzy headline lies a true story, often one of struggle and survival. This narrative calls for more awareness and reform in the industry that far too often tolerates such harsh reality, in addition to highlighting Cassie's personal challenges. Further exploration of Cassie's experience that her story is about more than just romance or fame. In a culture that often demands silence, it's about courage, fortitude, and the never-ending fight for respect. Diddy's former stylist's disclosure of Cassie's story serves as a powerful example of the complex realities that often lie beneath the surface of well-known people's lives. What the public perceives as glamorous parties, famous collaborations, and faultless performances is only a small portion of a far more intricate and worrisome tale. Between the cheerful grins and intimate struggles involving emotional distress, concealment, and mistreatment were experienced on the red carpet. These struggles are all too often ignored or unspoken in the glitzy world of Hollywood. This exposé shows that the path to love and fame is rarely straightforward. The abuse Cassie endured and her secret relationship with a strong individual who was kept out of the public eye serve to underscore the drawbacks of notoriety. The story reminds us that maintaining one's public image can push many people to keep quiet while masking their agony with perfection. Cassie suffered from hidden emotional and physical traumas to keep her career and reputation.
That's an effed up subject and situation, man, to even imagine that you got somebody doing that to somebody that you supposed to care about and you supposed to be in a relationship with.
Yeah, when I heard that, that was crazy to hear. Disturbing, man.
You can't make this shit up, bro. This is made for XXX TV. The stories that we're hearing about the things that Cassie has done, and we got these people out here believing that, you know, she made this shit up. She ain't did this with nobody. I ain't seen not one of her ex-boyfriends. I ain't seen not one of the people that she dated in high school or none of that stuff come out and say that she was doing that way before she got to Diddy. So it is disturbing, bro. It's disturbing that he could brainwash her to the point whereas that she believing that she pleasing him and all his fetishes and everything by doing some that she's doing for him, man. It's crazy.
Yeah, she testified that Diddy, he'll rub male escorts cum on his nipples.
Bro, what do you want me to say about that? You know, that's some nasty, perverted you know what I'm saying? Bro, when you that high and you into that, that's the, to me, that's the demonic, bro. That's some old crazy otherworld shit. Excuse me for my language. That's some crazy otherworld stuff that people in their right minds don't even think of stuff like that, bro. People that's not in a whole sense of being perverted, that's XXX type of shit, man. That's stuff that normal people don't even think of, man. How high do you get that you want another man juices rubbed on you.
The most notable aspect of this tale is Cassie's tenacity. She managed to fight back, regain her voice, and look for assistance despite the fear, control, and obstacles, even in a field that isn't often known for shielding its stars. Her experience is representative of the entertainment industry as a whole, a movement in which survivors are calling for responsibility, inspiring change, and ending their silence. Compassion, understanding, and a dedication to tearing down the structures that permit abuse are all demanded by this movement. Additionally, this tale highlights the value of allies. Insiders who see the truth and decide to speak up include the Stylist. Increase awareness and promote a culture that prioritizes safety and respect over image and secrecy. Their bravery in sharing these stories is essential. As Cassie keeps reconstructing and rewriting her story, her experience is a gay, poignant reminder. Happiness and safety are not assured by fame and wealth. Many people fight fights that are hidden from the public. This exposé challenges us to see past the news headlines and celebrity rumors, identify the real-life tales that merit compassion and fairness. Cassie's story is ultimately about more than just one woman's hardship. In a profession that occasionally puts quiet before safety, it's about the larger struggle for truth, dignity, and respect. Fans, professionals, and the industry at large are being urged to pay attention. Advocate for and support those whose voices have been silenced for a long time. This discovery challenges everyone to reevaluate their perceptions of celebrities by acting as a reminder that beneath the spotlight lies a real person with courage and the capacity for true compassion. What do you think of Cassie's tale? Post a comment below. I am reading. Remember to subscribe and like for more exclusive information.